So in this extended looking today, so in this extended experiment today, we are going to prove that you cannot be the beliefs of your thinking mind, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Now, the beliefs may not fall away right away, but you keep doing these exercises, and I guarantee you'll see through them, and they will start to fall away little by little, and then bam. So let's begin. Just in this moment, I'd like you to notice just what you're noticing. And just see if you can open the way that you're looking. You don't have to move your eyes, but just to include more of what's actually here in this moment. And you can feel that lens that you normally pay attention out of and stare into our phones or our devices all day has to relax. It has to relax into the environment to see what else is here. And you want to keep doing that until you're at the very edges. It's not even an edge, it kind of just, the moment just fades out visually. But your peripherals, you're zoomed out. Our attention is like a camera lens. And so you just opened the lens in the way that you're looking till you see the whole moment. And notice that even parts of the body are included in what you can see in the moment. Now keep resting your attention at the very edgeless edge of the visual moment. Notice the body is part of it. And then notice the breath. Notice that the breath is part of the moment. You might even notice the feel of the body sitting on the surface. I'm noticing the slight breeze on the face. So I'm still looking wide, but I'm actually sensing that the body is in the present moment too. I'm not dragging it into the world of my phone. I'm not dragging it to the world of my imagination of past and future. I'm just allowing it to be here where it always is, in the present moment, sitting in the environment with everything else that you can see. And just notice what that's like to actually be in the present moment. And just look around in the moment and see how safe it is. Like all of the stress that was happening in mental behavior, it's not here. It's not here in this moment. You're looking. Look for the stress. Body may be a little stressed from being in that imagined world all day, but look, is there anything that would cause stress in this moment? Really let yourself see the lack of danger and the presence of safety. And the body perhaps may start breathing a little deeper, a little more regular. And then just in the way we relaxed, the way that we were looking, can you also relax the way that you're listening? Perhaps you've been narrow focused, the lens of the attention either on thinking or the sound of my voice, but just in this moment, notice what other sounds are here. And notice that lens that you have to listen out of that's habituated to be so narrow has to widen, has to relax actually. Let go of the tension to hear. And now let attention reach into the moment and listen to every sound that can be heard. Not narrowing on any, but just letting all be heard equally and simultaneously. So you're looking at the whole moment, you're listening to the whole moment, and you just let the body just, let go of that stress. You might have some energy moving. Just notice. What is it like to come to this moment of safety? Now, what's happened to the thinking mind? Has it slowed? Does it slow down or disappear when you listen to what other sounds are here? And how wide is the ability to listen? Doesn't it stretch as far as the sounds stretch? Now, if you were a baby and you didn't have the ability to think yet or know what words meant, wouldn't the sound of a voice just be a sound? Another way to explore that is, what if your thinking mind started speaking in a language that you didn't understand? Or it just started to be sound. Notice, if you will, that you're the one listening to the sounds. If you didn't know what they meant, it would just be like gibberish. That's okay. You see? So what is it like to notice that even the voices of thought are sounds that you are listening to? Now let's bring attention to listening. And notice that listening, again, is wide, holding all sounds. The sound of this voice is able to be heard, is in the listening of it. There's the sound of the birds in my environment coming and going. So the listening is like a field, wide open. And it takes the lens of attention opening, relaxing, to hear all the sounds. But the listening is as wide as the sounds. Now, when you listen, are you making sounds? Or is it quiet? If you're really listening, just do that for a moment. You see? It's the absence of thinking. Your mind is actually the same as it was before you learn to think. Quiet. Listening. And it still is. Notice that for a few moments. You are the listening. And it still is. Notice that for a few moments. You are the listening. And it still is. Notice that for a few moments. You are the listening. And it still is. Notice that for a few moments. You are the listening. And it still is. You are the listening. The silent listening that hears all sounds, including the sound of thinking, the sound of this voice, the sound of the birds, whatever sounds are in your environment. You are listening to them quietly. Now we learn to think. And beliefs started to arise because of what we were taught. This is my nose. This is my eye. This is me. This is me. We're taught that we are this body. But what happens before I was told I was this body? What was I? Who was I before I was given a name? You see, I learned my name. This is you. This is you. This is Donna. But I was here before as silent listening, before I learned letters that turned into words, that turned into sentences, that turned into objects, that turned into meaning. And that is what we call thinking. And that's who we mistake ourselves to be, forgetting that we are still the silence that is listening to thinking. When this voice stops, there's a little piece of silence. When another sound stops in its place, there's a little piece of silence. At night, so much silence. But because we were taught to pay attention, and attention loves movement, like the camera lens, it narrows onto the movement of thinking. So thinking seems like the only thing that's here because of the way we're paying attention to it. But how much silence in the moment is there? Compared to the sounds. And what are beliefs but sentences with meaning? Sounds were learned. Words were learned. Sentences were learned. Stories were learned. Meaning was learned. But what is the moment like before learning? Before meaning? when it was just sounds and silence. So when you have a belief, is it not a sentence? I'm unworthy. Are you that word claiming, that sentence claiming to be you, or are you listening? And every time there is a belief that's not true, do you know what the body does? It tightens. Because we're telling the body something that's not true, giving something meaning that's not accurate. And the body is a truth machine. So if there's a belief claiming to be you that says, I am unworthy, the body will clench, just as if you were telling a child, or giving that energy of that statement to a small animal. You're not worthy. Wouldn't that cause a contraction, a flinch? Because it's not true. You are the silent listening. Not the beliefs that you learned. Not the sentences that arise and disappear. Notice how sounds arise and disappear, even the sound of a belief, and you are still there listening. If the camera lens of listening is narrow, those beliefs, those sentences, that meaning seems true. But if that lens opens and that belief can be heard as a voice of something you learned, then it can be distinguished from the listening. You are not the beliefs in your head. You are silent, listening. Just keep relaxing attention, and you will see that voices are just sounds. In this moment, and they don't really mean a thing. Thank you for listening. Blessings.